towards. Nice and calm. You almost there.
Yeah, I did it. I cried 2 tears in a bucket. Fuck it. Let's take it to the stage.
You dig it? You knock a dude down, you get some respect.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Yeah, that was a quick 1 minute, man. Hey, happy Monday, happy post-Thanksgiving Day and all that kind of stuff. And I hope you guys can hear me. I think you can. We got another good one for you today. We're going to keep it light, but it's going to be interesting because I think I have an interesting take on this situation that we have going on with the ladies who got kicked out of their restaurant, and we could talk about it. I'm gonna probably drop the link real early and all those kind of good things. But now, if you're not familiar with what's happening before, let's get some people in here. Let's meet and greet who's in the audience. Or do we have anybody showing up just yet? Which is what we need. Let me do this. Okay. All right. So we're going to give it a couple of seconds, see who's going to show up and say hello. And hello to the crowd, and all that kind of good stuff. I have everybody knows about the 9 ladies who got kicked out of the restaurant because 2 hyenas decided to fight. And, 2 black women decided to go out on a night and beat each other up. You know what I'm saying? And embarrass everybody in the restaurant. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, okay? And you got to tell me what side of what you understand about this situation, because it's, I got a kind of a different kind of feeling about it than some folks. What's going on, Richie? And I'd like to give you my take on it, and you can give me your take on it. And anybody who wants to come up and debate about it, Black Man just dropped the StreamYard link, and we can go from there. This doesn't necessarily have to be a filibuster on my part. We should all be able to talk about this, and we need to start talking about these things more openly. How we really feel about Black people misbehaving, and how much of it rubs off on us as regular law-abiding citizens or people who want to do the right thing. Right? Is it discrimination? Yeah. And even in the face of discrimination, can Black fatigue kind of lessen that who's responsible for some of these things? And how much of it do we have to take on our shoulders, in terms of, are we our brother's keepers or not? Okay. And of course, we'll probably get some people come in here and say, under any circumstances, we're supposed to, be on one side or the other. I think you're going to be interested in what I have to say about the 9 ladies who were discriminated against. Because I openly know, we all openly know what discrimination is and what it looks like. And so there's no debate on that in this situation. So don't trip. We did see straight on racial discrimination. But in light of that, is there more to talk about? That's what I want you to say, want you to think about. Should we just get wrapped up in our emotions and forget about everything else? All right, so let me just play my first kind of warm-up clip. So, just to get things started. And let's just talk a little bit about, before we talk about this particular incident, let's talk about black fatigue from the voice of a black man. Right, before we get started, let me see if it's all set up. There you go. Can I find it? All right. All right. Let's go.
And folks are getting fatigued from being constantly disrespected, treated as if they're always the problem, treated as if there's absolutely no accountability and responsibility on the part, particularly black folks. And, unfortunately, the loudest mouths in our community often are the most disrespectful, most dishonorable voices in our community that are, quote unquote, speaking about the grievances that black folks have against America and against white folks. The thing is that even as a black person, they'll have wronged them, or that they feel are responsible for their station in life. Let me tell you something real quick, that you got white folks, you got black folks, you got rich folks, you got poor folks. And what people are tired of, what people are so unfortunately associating with black folks, is a lack of character and a lack of class. And that's what the fatigue is. I'm tired of dealing with people with low character and of low class that do not operate in human decency. The thing is that we as black folks have so many criticisms about white folks and all that, but are unable to look at our own behavior, look at how our own mindsets cause our own demise, and yet we want to blame everybody else for it. We don't operate from a place of excellence. We operate from a place of victimhood. We don't operate from a place of responsibility and accountability. We operate from a place of victimhood. We don't operate from a place of opportunity. We operate from a place of victimhood. And as a result, people are tired. People are absolutely tired. They're tired of being held responsible for things that are within black people's control. They're tired of being told that they're wrong just because they have a different opinion, a different perspective, and a different experience. They're tired of it. And I know that if I'm tired of it, and I know if I'm tired of it, I know that the folks that are being blamed and being talked to crazy are tired of it as well. So you know what? If it's anything that I've learned, is that folks will watch you. Folks will watch you. They will watch you. They will watch you. And the moment that they get tired of your stuff, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter the apologies that you have. That's it for you.
All right. So listen, you guys heard what he had to say. Now, whether you agree with him or not, but let's just talk about it. I think that I hear more about black fatigue from black people on these YouTube streets and his social media streets than I do from white people. There's a segment of black folks who are just tired of being saddled with the responsibility for people who are behaving badly, right? And acting like some of that doesn't rub off on the rest of us. It's just not true. It does. And it's how much, and I think it's getting to forget about white people for a second. When are we going to get to the point where we don't want to tolerate being saddled with folks who are out of control? In terms of the way they behave in public and what they think they are entitled to do and not do. Because when we get into talking about these 9 black women, who were essentially just bystanders to a bad incident, somehow it rubbed off on them, and legally, everything they have to say in terms of suing that establishment, I believe is true. But is that the rest of the story? Is that the only story that we need to talk about? Do you know what I'm saying? That's what I think. I think that we need to go ahead and examine what's going on there, right? In terms of, and this is good. We get a couple of idiots who come up and or in their feelings and stuff like that. And I think they can get away with stupid shit. But you know what? I'm glad you were there, Black Man, to remove the fool, because here we are trying to have a civil conversation, and this guy is not even where. Yeah, thanks a lot. I mean, really, the point, Black Man, is this. I mean, I obviously agree with the 9 women that they were discriminated against, but we can't talk about anything more about that because we got too many Black folks who are just complete assholes about having a conversation, unless you just stand on one side and scream, "Oh, I'm a victim," from the top of your lungs. That shit needs to stop. Anyway, so the brother who was talking, I agree with him, right? He didn't look like some, upper, you can't tell by, his appearance, but he didn't have the most cropped beard. He didn't look like some uppity, crusty guy. He looked like a working man who was just tired of being labeled or being, stigmatized by people in the community who just want to behave badly, or who think they're entitled to behave any way they want to behave, no matter where they are at. And at some point, at some time, we need to take ownership that, if we want to change that narrative, we can't ask white people to do that for us. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that you're going to be able to ask white people to do that shit for you. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. So let's get to the issue at hand. And I think most of us already know about the ladies who were, I would say, victimized, not just by the establishment, not just by the, what's it, cork and beef or whatever the hell they're called, kicking them out of the restaurant, by the two hyenas who decided to fuck up the night for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Just because of some stupid bullshit that they got into, they didn't have any issue with showing their Black asses in front of all of these people. And before I get started, listen, okay, so we got 9 sisters who are out. 9 sisters who are out on a dinner. Okay, let's kind of do the anatomy of what it takes to get 9 people, probably their mothers. They could be single moms, but let's just say they're mothers. Some of them are, probably. Let's say they're working ladies. Let's just say they're busy. So I would imagine for them to go out, to get together with 9 women, to go out to have a nice dinner, took a lot of planning. It probably took a lot of planning to make that shit happen. You know what I'm saying? You ever go out with a bunch of friends? You just don't pick up that night and say, let's go. There probably was babysitters involved. There probably was some kind of investment, being able to get out and get together for maybe once in 6 months or some shit like that, right? To get together to break bread. And so there you are in a restaurant, which is kind of, they say, kind of maybe $3 signs, maybe 4, to have a good time. And then in a table, unrelated to you, 2 Black women, inappropriately dressed, by the way, come in a restaurant, and for some freaking reason, they start fighting inside that restaurant. All over. I mean, and then you have the white patrons and everybody just looking at them saying, Jesus Christ, man, we can't go anywhere with these fucking people. You know what I'm saying? And then here you are with your 9 ladies sitting in the corner. You know your night is already ruined because these women, no matter who you are, even if they weren't with you, you are automatically embarrassed. You're automatically embarrassed. You didn't have anything to do with it. So now you have embarrassment on your shoulders because 2 women decided to act a fool in a moderately upper crust restaurant. right? I'm just trying to draw the picture because the 9 women, as far as I'm concerned, are innocent of the infraction. But they couldn't separate themselves from the optics, right? They just couldn't, even if they wanted to. So we're going to go and just play the little short clip of the incident and some of the commentary from the news media, a little bit from the ladies, a little bit from their lawyer, and then we're going to kind of go from there. But you see where I'm coming from, right? For all of you guys who are listening, who are unemotional, I'm not blaming the 9 women for anything because I just laid it out what it probably took for them to get that night off, to just go out and break bread with the people they're building relationships with. And it took 2 ladies, unrelated, to destroy it all. And those ladies are not to be seen anywhere, right? We haven't seen them. I think they should get tracked down and admonished, whatever that admonishment might be. I think it needs to happen. They're the ones who owes everybody an apology. They owe everybody an apology. They owe those 9 women an apology. They owe the establishment an apology. They owe the people who came out to that restaurant an apology. Now, that doesn't absolve the restaurant from what they did, but we're going to get into that too. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kind of cue up those ladies. Let me say the incident. Yeah, so let's cue up the incident. I want to make sure it's looking right. Okay, let's get them on the stage. Let's do it right. Okay, let's cue up the incident.
In Chesapeake, known for fine dining, was the backdrop for some rude behavior that got physical. These images of 2 women fighting from earlier this month are making the rounds on social media. But the story is a group of 9 other women who say they were kicked out of the restaurant in what they call an act of discrimination. Markeisha Jackson has the story. You'll see.
Okay, let's just stop it. It's not what they call an act of discrimination. It was a clear act of discrimination. All right, I know they can't say that shit on TV for some reason, but it's a clear. I can put on my lawyer's cape and win that case. It was a clear act of discrimination. But is that the whole story? Okay, so let's go.
The only on 10.
That fight happened inside of Cork and Bull Chop House. After things settled down, a group of other women who were not involved in the fight were told they had to leave the establishment, a statement they feel was made based on the color of their skin. What was supposed to be a night of fellowship for this group of women
turned into a night.
I got to stop it again. It's based on what they claim. It's not. It's true. And I hate the fact that media has to talk in media ease. It is because of the color of their skin. It is because they're soon to be their sister's keeper. Yeah, it is. Let's just be honest. That kind of ratchet bullshit behavior rubs off on all of us, whether we're there or not. They just happen to be there. And it doesn't justify what happened to them. But we can't keep going on and ignoring that shit doesn't rub off.
Night of hurt, embarrassment, and pure humiliation.
And all 3 of those things are true. Hurt, embarrassment, and humiliation by the 2 ratchet hyenas who actually walked out without reprisal, left these sisters there to face the wrath of the people in this restaurant.
9 women had chosen to have a Friendsgiving dinner at Cork and Bull.
We only had time to order our drinks, and a fight broke out between 2 African-American women that had nothing to do with us.
Somebody break it up.
This is video of the altercation. The 9 women say it happened between guests at a table that was across the room. The 2 women seen throwing blows ultimately left before authorities arrived. But somehow, restaurant staff thought these 9 women who were still inside were somehow involved and told them to leave too.
So I asked,
So let's clear one thing up. The restaurant staff knew that these women weren't involved with those other women. So again, the news media, you got to be careful with how they word shit. Those people in this restaurant know that these ladies were not involved with those other ladies. It's a clear case of discrimination. However, they took the leap to say, you know what? And I'm going to say this part while we're here, right? And I know people don't like this. As Black folks, and especially Black women who go out to restaurants, we already have a bad reputation of not tipping and being the hardest on waiters and waitresses. Now, I don't know if they put, a party of 9, most establishments like this upper crusty one would probably put the tip in the bill. Okay. But a lot of, and this is not coming from me, just go on social media and look up any Black server, and they'll tell you that there's a lot of people who don't want to serve Black people, period. No matter what they look like. You're stigmatized again by the bad behavior and the bad tipping and the bad things that other people do. That's just true. So I don't know if that made it easier for the manager and his people to say, you know what? I'm not even going to take a chance on you guys. Get out. So to me, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. And I'm going to talk about that too, because that's the only thing let me not get ahead of myself. Let them finish talking. Let them finish talking.
that's why. And he responded saying, because you all like to fight. And they made us leave and get up in front of all the other patrons in the restaurant.
We were really in like a negative spotlight at that moment, and it was all eyes on us. It was very embarrassing.
The 9 ladies are now pursuing legal action. Their lawyer sat down with us.
All right, before the lawyer goes through her legalese, right? Neither one of those ladies, unless they cut that out, said anything about the 2 Black women who put them in a position to feel this way. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that would be germane to the story. If I'm sitting down here and one of these ladies, just one of them, says, you know what, man, I'm pissed at the restaurant for what they did, but those 2 hyenas ruined our night and the night of everybody else in the restaurant. Okay, so let's hear what this lawyer has to say. And of course, she's going to speak lawyerese, but let's see if we get anything more substantive out of her.
Just because you have employees that might have made a bad judgment one night, that could turn into 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights. It has to stop.
The women say
All right, okay, just on that part. I agree that if this is not a one-off, we haven't heard from Cork and Bull kicking out people just because they were Black before, but is that going to happen more in the future? Now, that's a whole different story. But again, the lawyer is talking about the one-off. The lawyer didn't say anything about let me finish hearing what the lawyer said. But again, is that the full point that the racist discrimination that Cork and Bull did to these 9 ladies are we worried about them doing it again to somebody else? Or do we really care on why they did it in the first place? And that's a question that is debatable, right? Because you say, well, it should have never happened. Yeah, maybe it shouldn't have, but it didn't happen in a vacuum.
restaurant staff has not reached out to provide an apology or update.
All 9 of these ladies were treated more harshly than the 2 people who were actually engaged in the misdemeanor action.
Their lawyers.
That's right. Yeah, by the restaurant. The restaurant let these ladies leave. They didn't hold them. But the ladies themselves are treating these ladies with more deference than they are the restaurant. And I question that. I really do. And one of those ladies should have been saying, you know what, those two ladies effed up my night. It took me $150, $200 to come out here to hang out with my girls. I had to get a babysitter. Oh, I got a no shit boyfriend or husband or whatever, baby daddy. I couldn't leave my kid there. So I had to make some other arrangements. This is my one night out of 6 months to get out. And these two fucking chicks blew it for me. Right? Isn't that a part of the equation? I'm asking. Isn't that a part of the equation? Okay, because the discrimination is clear, right? It's clear. But isn't these two women here, this chick with her ass out, her cheeks and thing, they even try to blur it. It's not as bad as I thought. But anyway, aren't these two women responsible for something? Aren't they responsible for something? Did they pay by cash or by some kind of check? And if they, well, not a check, a credit card. If they pay by credit card, we know who they are. They should be brought to the front of the congregation.
Says they want accountability and justice.
We can say this is discrimination. We can say this violates the Equal Protection Clause. They have said enough is enough, and we're not going to take it.
Treat your customers with dignity and respect.
We did reach out to the owners of Cork and Bull Chop House as well as the general manager for comment, but we have not heard back. And
all right. So one of the reasons that I'm thinking that we haven't got the traditional mea culpa from Cork and Bull, whatever, right? One of the things that the reason why they haven't came out, one, I haven't heard them firing those employees. That's not one. That's one. And two, I haven't heard, we get the regular mea culpa from corporate headquarters. Oh, we're sorry. We're going to go retrain everybody and we didn't mean to do this. It seems like the company itself is saying, you know what, even if we have to pay out some kind of restitution to these ladies, we'll do that, but we're not apologizing for the fact that we just want to have it off limits in our establishment, that people could think they just come up here and act any way they want to. And we're willing to pay a few dollars for that. Where's the apology? It's like they're unafraid. I would like to know, I heard that there were some clips of like some white apologists, some white liberals, picking signs in front of the damn restaurant or something like that. I bet you it didn't stop one person from coming there to get a steak. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to look at the fact that, and I don't want to call it black fatigue, for white people being black. I'm just a little bit more concerned that the sisters at the restaurant weren't more mad at their sisters from ruining their night. Right? Because who else would know how hard it would be for black women or anybody to get 9 of y'all together to go out and enjoy breaking bread. The amount of coordination to just go out these days with all the shit that people have going on, shouldn't a black woman know as much as anybody else how hard that might be? If we were just doing by statistics, right? Out of the 9 women there, is it safe to say maybe 5 of them have a kid out of wedlock? That, just leaving is not that easy. You know what I'm saying? That they might have a job or, their shit might be tight and this is their one night to hang out. Who ruined that night? The restaurant or the 2 other black women? Right? Because the discrimination case, we could put that to the side. They have a case for discrimination. There's no doubt about it. So I'm not even arguing against that. So I want people to kind of parse my words. Because it's obviously suing the establishment It's not the balm, it's not the salve that they need, because that's in the bag. But these women are still upset over that, right? But they have the case, right? You figure if you have a case for a lawsuit, maybe shit, I know I'm gonna get some money out of this, so I'm not really gonna be so hurt. But the truth of the matter is they are hurt. But they're not hurt just by what the establishment did. They're hurt by the two hyenas. And they're still not willing to come out and admonish the behavior of those women. You know what I'm saying? And that is something I think we need to examine, the truth of the matter. I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. So what else is there? What can we really ask about what's going on here? All right. Yeah, okay. So the discrimination case is straight up. No question there. Right? Let me ask, are we our brothers and sisters keep doing? All right, it's back. So I'm sorry if we got, messed up for a second. Let me ask, so if you didn't hear my question, the other question is, are we our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper? Do we bear any, I hate to use the word responsibility, or can we dodge any culpability for the behavior of our brethren? Can we just say that we are clean? We can separate ourselves from the behavior of our brothers and sisters. Yeah, I know I was frozen. Am I frozen again? I don't know if I had a new modem put in. Can you hear me, Miss Locks to Smile? Can you hear me now? Because I think I'm back up. I hope I am. Just put a 1 in the chat if you can. I think I'm back up. Anyway, so let me see. I'm gonna make sure that I'm not just speaking to the choir. I think I'm back up. Yeah, I'm back up. All right. So yeah, thank you. So my question really is, are we safe? So I got some more for you. I just want to leave those couple of questions in your head. I guess there's another one. Yeah, about those two ladies getting tracked down. I know if we wanted to, they could track those ladies down and make and at least admonish them for what they're doing, or at least hear what they have to say for themselves, to hold themselves, even if they don't want to hold themselves accountable. It'd be nice for them to know, we know who you are. And, and if we got something out of them on why they were fighting each other in this establishment, I don't know what that would do, but at least they're being held accountable. So I got a couple other clips that I want to share with you, share with everybody about what's going on. Let me do that right now. All right. So listen, the Pink Book lessons. She and everybody who is on YouTube, they know Pink Book lessons. And I want to go ahead and get a couple of snippets from her perspective on what's going on and how she looks at it. So it's just not me talking, and it's somebody else. So bear with me while I set this up. All right. So let me get to the right spot. And then I'm going to share it. All right. Let me make sure it's the right spot, and then we'll go from there. With Pink Book lessons. Okay. All right. All right. So this is good enough. Let me make sure I'm sharing it. Yeah, I am. There you go. And let me fix it. And then let me go back to Pink Book. All right.
And no, I'm not showing the fight here, but I'll leave the link below. The lady, a part of the uninvolved party of 9, I know she was telling somebody to break it up. And come on, do you really expect people to get in the middle of 2 Keishas fighting what's supposed to be a nice restaurant? Well, of course, nobody's volunteering to referee a fight match when they're paying their money and put on their nice clothes to have a nice dinner. I see she didn't get her behind up to break up the fight. And no, I don't blame her, but why are you yelling for somebody else to break it up? I mean, you know exactly why nobody's breaking it up. It's the same reason why you sat there at the table and didn't break it up either. No shade, I'm just being honest. That's my observation. Nobody was about to get up to stop that fight, just like you didn't get up from the table to stop it either.
This is video of the altercation. The 9 women say it happened between guests at a table that was across the room. The 2 women seen throwing blows ultimately left.
They were involved. The restaurant staff was fully aware they were not involved. They came in as 2 different parties under 2 different names, 2 different groups, and they were seated at 2 different tables. Once again, here's the security footage from that restaurant. They didn't somehow think they were involved. They knew they weren't related at all. And that right there is why the restaurant about to get their britches sewed off.
So that's why. And he responded saying, because you all like to fight. And they made us leave.
You know, I gotta say, you know, even though in this case it's not true, but can we really dodge the fact that Black people like to fight? Can we? You know, I mean, it's not going to win them a case because in this case there is clear discrimination. But from an ignorant white man's voice, you know, can he say something like that? You know, if he said it on the stand, it would be really bad. But still,
leave and get up in front of all the other patrons in the restaurant.
We were really in like a negative spotlight at that moment, and it was all eyes on us. It was very embarrassing.
The 9 ladies are now pursuing legal action. Their lawyer sat down with us.
Just because you have employees that might have made a bad judgment one night, that could turn into 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights. It has to stop.
The women say the restaurant staff has not reached out to
was a fight. It almost sounds like she's defending her innocent clients and at the same time putting the cape on for the women who actually caused the chaos in the first place. By using softer language, she's minimizing the seriousness of their actions. And honestly, that's part of the problem. Condoning.
Let me stop this right there. And I should have let her finish. And she's going to say condoning. You know, I said what I said before I saw this from Pink Book. And I'm glad there's a woman saying what I said. It sounds like they're apologizing for the 2 ladies who ruined everybody's night. Everybody's night. They might not be financially culpable to these ladies, but they're certainly the one who put the stain on the night.
Downplaying or excusing bad behavior is exactly how negative stereotypes about us continue to get recycled. That's why it's important to call wrongdoing exactly what it is. Separate ourselves from it, not sugarcoat it. But the wild part is the attorney, she's speaking as if she's defending both groups. And look, reality is simple. Just like both parties aren't guilty, both parties aren't innocent either. Listen, everybody can't be guilty, everybody can't be innocent, and everybody can't be a victim. Her job in this case is not to defend a bunch of wild flamingos clearly out of order at that restaurant. Nah, her job is to lay out the case for her clients who are innocent in this situation and prove they were victims of discrimination.
Let me stop it right there on that point, because that's true. That's what she's supposed to be doing. You know, and it doesn't seem her equivocating and not really concentrating on the fact that there's a reason why these ladies got embarrassed. And even though that reason doesn't justify them getting kicked out of the restaurant, it is the catalyst for why we are all here talking about this. And it's those two women who decided to act a fool in front of everybody. You know, that's really it. I mean, and for that to go unacknowledged is one of the real problems that we have in the Black community, not just for this incident, but for a lot of things. You know, we got to be able to say, hey, listen, that's F shit that you guys are doing. And it needs to stop. You know, not just the women either. I mean, for the men too. Everybody who does things that's untoward, right? We can't have a party, right? A rap party with two rival gangs showing up without somebody whipping out a gun and shooting up the crowd, right? That's more on the men's side, correct? You know, I mean, it's just, you know, we got a lot of work to do, but we need to get rid of the apologists and the gatekeepers from us really getting to the root of one of the things. And don't misunderstand what I'm saying. We don't need to do this to prove ourselves to white people. This ain't about white people. You know, this ain't about white people. We don't need to do anything to show that we're good Negroes for these fucking guys. We just need to do all that for our own community, for us. You know what I'm saying? I mean, why can't we do good things for us without thinking we have to do it to appease somebody else? Don't we need some healing internally as people? I mean, at one point, we were in this shit together, right? And now it just seems like everybody's going on. We're so bifurcated as a community, you know. We're so bifurcated as a community, we can't even recognize each other. Well, anyway, so I'm going to go up to a little bit more of Pink Book because everybody loves Pink Book lessons. All right, so.
Y'all see the video of them black women that was fighting in a nice restaurant and they booty cheeks was all out and like chesticles was exposed? A group of black women that had just sat down and were not served yet, and like a fight broke out right in front of them. And they were like, "Ooh, should we jump in and help them and break it up?" And they was like, "Girl, this ain't got nothing to do with us. Let's just sit right here and wait for them to, handle that." So ultimately the staff went and handled it, got them people up out of there. And then when it was their turn to get served, they came around and was like, "Yeah, we're not serving you because like your kind like to fight." And these black women were appalled. They were like, "I cannot believe this is happening to us. They really throwing us out." And I'm like, dang, black fatigue is through the roof. Like, they was completely sick of y'all. And I'm not even being funny. Like, the woman that was fighting, they was like big, thick women. Looked like they had some bad BBLs, probably in there fighting over some baby daddy or whatever. But like, whole booty cheeks was out, y'all. Fat chesticles. It was looking nasty and sloppy. That's like, cool. One of them looked like she had a little dress on, and the other one had like BBL clothing or like some cheap workout gear. It was just bad. Situation that made it to the news, and like it got all these white apologists outside of the restaurant like letting these people know like, you're not going to treat black women like this. And I am just cracking up. This is another reason why some people do not eat at places that do not require a dress code. Like, I will eat in the house or get my food to go at certain places once I start noticing that there's certain characters up in there. And it looked like this was a pretty decent or nice restaurant. Like, why does this girl look like she wearing a workout outfit? She came there on a mission. I don't care. I started paying attention to the clientele up in there. Like, once certain people start sliding up in there with certain attire, I'd be like, this is not where I want to be seen. Time to go.
All right. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm showing all of these videos to just say it's just not me as some black man wanting to shit down on some black women. It's just not true. I mean, it just happens to be 9 black women, but I'm grouping all of us together. Right? I got family, you got family, you guys, we spend a lot of time trying to do the right things. And it doesn't take much for the bad behavior in our community to rub out on us. It's already bad enough that our music and entertainment is some of the worst ratchet shit in the whole world that's being broadcast around the whole world. That's bad enough. Right? And when's the last time you heard a real good ballad, talking about love and this and that, right? As opposed to, I mean, even Meg Thee Stallion, right, who's supposed to be in love with Klay Thompson, and the way she shows it by putting out a record that rivals WAP in terms of ratchetness. And it's like she doesn't know any better. You know what? It would have been nice, and this is just a sidebar. Let's just say her love for Klay Thompson is real, right? I think some people are actually pulling for them to stay together. I think he's going to try to marry her. Okay, let's just put it this way. Wouldn't it have been something if Meg would have went into the studio and coined a love song? We don't know whether she could sing or not, but I bet you she can. You know, I bet you she has some facets that's more than her body. We know now that she can whip out a Thanksgiving dinner, right? And look like she knows what the hell she's doing. So I bet you she could have gotten to the studio and made a love song to Klay Thompson. And I bet you with that song would make more money than this ratchet bullshit she just put out. I bet you. That's just me, an old lovey-dovey baby boomer speaking. You know, but if I was her manager, I said, why don't you go in there and try to belt out a few chords for your love for this guy? Let's see what happens on the commercial market. I don't know. But we know what happened with the booty song she came out with. Even the women came out and said, come on, we expecting better from you. Excuse me. Anyway, so that's just a sidebar. But still, you know, we just want to see people behave a little bit better in the Black community. That would be nice. You know, if anybody wants to come up and say their piece, you got the link. Did we drop the link? I know BMU dropped it once before. We could drop it again. But anyway, I got one more thing that I want to show. Anyway, so listen, you know, I guess we're all getting the message, and I need you folks out there to say yourselves, hey, you know, do we bear any responsibility, or can we dodge being branded by what these two ladies did, or by what the roving bands of thieves do when they go break into a store, or mobs of people shooting up the place? Can we really divorce ourselves from bad behavior as Black people without and be you know, staying free? Excuse me, I've got some issue. Anyway, so I want to play this last clip, and this is a short one. It's a real short one. Let me share it, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Chesapeake NAACP and the Virginia State Conference NAACP are demanding answers after a fight in a Chesapeake restaurant. 9 African-American women say restaurant staff discriminated against them over the incident, even though they were not involved. The women say they want to raise awareness and are considering legal action. Layla Cox joins us now. And Layla, you've been speaking with these women and their attorney for the past 2 weeks.
That's right, Janet. Shakoya Somerville Holt told me this morning she and her friends are hanging in there and will do what it takes to bring awareness to an unfortunate incident so it doesn't happen to anyone else.
And as we got up to leave, it felt like we were doing the walk of shame.
Shakoya Somerville Holt says what started as a Friendsgiving celebration turned ugly very quick.
We didn't even get our drinks, and a physical altercation happened between 2 African-American women. We did not know them. We were not affiliated with them.
A video obtained by 13 News Now shows the fight between the 2 women at Cork and Bull, but what it doesn't show is what transpired afterwards. That is gaining a lot of attention online. The 9 women dining at Cork and Bull were told by management they had to leave immediately.
I questioned, are you shutting the entire restaurant down for tonight? No, we're just not servicing you all because y'all like to fight.
Mrs. Holt says no other parties were asked to leave, and when law enforcement arrived shortly after the woman that fought left, Cork and Bull management asked Mrs. Holt to take responsibility.
And the other 2 women, they were already gone by the time law enforcement arrived. So the manager asked me to give a statement. We wasn't involved in this.
2 weeks later, the group of
All right. So what she didn't say is whether she gave a statement or not. So I don't know about that. And I agree with her about the walk of shame, you know. But yeah, she's walking. The shame is not because you got kicked out by the discrimination of the shame is because the two black hyenas were fighting each other, and that shit rubbed off on y'all, and it wasn't right. But it was so close in proximity, it wasn't enforced. Ignorant people from the restaurant. And it seems to me that the restaurant is willing to go to court for you guys to get your day in court. And you're not even talking about it. So at some point, I would like black people who have a case to just say, we're going to sue. Hell with all this bullshit that you're talking about. If you're going to sue them, sue them. You know, why do you need them to apologize? Is that going to mean you're not going to sue? And all right, so here's a little subtle thing before this is a short clip, and I want to say this. Shit. Again, my forgive me, my daggone internet is acting up in this area, so it pops in and out. But let's just say this: if they just want an apology, I would be mad, because I don't think that the company apology should be accepted. You hear what I'm saying? I'm saying all of this shit to you guys to say, one, that we should all be out, we're going to take some hits for the bad behavior of our own people. But an apology from the company is definitely not enough. And the reason why I'm saying an apology is not good enough is because I would rather this go to court. I would rather this be a spectacle on both discrimination and the conversation of black fatigue, right? Because that would certainly be part of their defense. It'll be a weak defense, but at least these conversations will be had. Do you know what I'm saying? Just an apology from Cork and Bull, that means this whole situation goes away into the ether. Here's a trial, a lawsuit might actually mean that you got to track down the two hyenas who started the fight in the first place and put their fat asses on the stand, and find out why they did. I mean, I would like this thing to be laid bare so we can hear all sides of the story, so we can have a discussion on the intersection of real discrimination and the fact that people are just fed up with ratchet ass black behavior. And I'm still having issues with it, and I got to get it fixed one way or the other. But anyway, you do hear me now because I see it pop back up. Anyway, so let's finish this short little clip from this lady, and then really don't have that much more to talk about but parting thoughts,
African-American women say they are still embarrassed, shocked, and confused, but at the same time grateful for the outpouring support. Chesapeake CP chapters are standing united with Mrs. Holt and her friends.
This is what we do. When we see cases of racism, when we see cases of injustice anywhere and everywhere, we call it out and then work to rectify the situation.
I'm glad they got his ass off, man. Who wants to hear from the NAACP, whatever the hell they're called?
Virginia NAACP President Cozy Bailey tells 13 News Now Cork and Bull must apologize to the group of women removed and conduct internal practices with their staff that are non-discriminatory.
All right. See, there you have it again. It's like, it's like, for example, being apologized to makes everything okay. It doesn't. Right? We got a whole community of black people, probably led by the double NCNPA, NAACP, about if you just apologize to us for all the wrongdoings, we could move on with our lives. Just the thought about that is just bullshit. There's some apologies that are worthless, right? For example, let's just take Cork and Bull, for example, right? Let's say they do apologize. I mean, who really believes their apology, right? Did they change their mind? You know what I'm saying? They're saying I apologize, but they still think you're a black savage. So their apology is just okay. So Anissa, you showed up a little late. Yeah, but anyway, starving and bad behavior. Yeah. Oh, okay. Again. All right. So that's enough of that. And the truth of the matter is, we know that this incident was a bad one. I feel sorry. Well, let me just say, it's too bad that these sisters had to go through it. But it'd be nice if they directed some of their angst and ire against the two ladies who actually ruined their night. Now, the company put, Cork and Bull put the icing on the cake, but they weren't the one who baked it. So anyway, so that's that. And let me ask you a question out there, whether you're going to answer anything or not, but do you guys actually believe that black fatigue is real or not? And no matter where you sit in the bifurcation of the black community, right? The haves, the have-nots, and the few people who are in the middle, and it's more than bifurcation, it's three, right? Trifurcation, whatever you want to call it. Do we, at some level, everybody knows, who are aware, that there's a certain amount of fatigue going around, and does that make your life better or worse? That you have people you have to interact with, people you have to do business with, people you have to be in commercial settings with, people you have to get a loan from, people you have to trust you that you have a handle on the people in your circle. So if they're dealing with you, this shit ain't gonna come up. And you don't think that black people have lost deals, didn't get loans, or didn't get a housing or whatever because somebody is a little nervous about doing business with you? Come on. You know what I'm saying? And anyway, so I'm coming off of a cold, so it keep coming back. And it doesn't seem like the water is doing any good. Anyway, so I just have one thing for you. And of course, me and my little AI music, but I have something for black fatigue. And I appreciate you guys listening to me. Thank you, Mrs. Locks, Anissa, for coming up late. A few other people. We had one guy we had to kick off because he couldn't get past his own stupidity. But so listen, I'll tell you one thing. These 9 ladies, they at least gave us something to talk about, because discrimination is real, but so is black fatigue. And the one brother that I put up in the beginning, you can go back on replay and listen to him, is that just the regular black people feel it. They actually do. And we can't keep running away from it. And we don't need apologists like Roland Martin or, Ricky Smiley or crazy ass D.L. Hughley, who's lost it completely from telling us how to feel, or ladies like Tiffany Cross or anybody like that. We got issues that need to be looked at in our community. And as soon as somebody came up and talked about Charlie Kirk, what does this have to do with Charlie Kirk? This is the problem we have in our own community. What the fuck does this have to do with Charlie Kirk? We didn't mention his name one time until you did. This is foolishness. You know, it's crazy. And I'm going to leave that up there just so we can just kind of emphasize the fact that we just got idiots all through the Black community who just don't want to look inward and always want to look outward. Charlie fucking Kirk, what the fuck does he have to do with anything I just said? Anyway, and you know what? And I felt like cursing. I know I tried to get through this without using the F word, but it's just so bad in our community that we just can't get past it. People are just so willing to be victims of everything. And it's really, that's really sad. Anyway, I got one more thing for you guys, and then we can get out of here, okay? And of course, some of you guys might know what it is, some of you might not, but and we're gonna play it anyway. All right. Make sure it's shared, and hopefully my whatchamacallit won't knock out. And here's Black Fatigue in musical form. Listen.
Ooh, ooh, in the shadows where the lost souls roam, secrets buried like a heavy stone, whispers echo in this silent night. Drawn to darkness, searching for the light. Every step feels like a loaded gun, chasing dreams, but it's never done. Black fatigue from the choices made. Every heartbeat feels like a masquerade. Lost in the rhythm of a cracked facade, flying shadows in a world so flawed. Eyes wide shut, wrapped in my own thoughts. Countless battles, and I'm always fought. Worn out shoes on this endless street. Bad behavior, what does it feel like defeat? Tired of the lies that weigh me down. Caught in the cycle, still I drown. Black fatigue from the choices made. Every heartbeat feels like a masquerade. Lost in the rhythm of a cracked facade, fighting shadows in a world so I'll rise again, though I'm feeling weak. In this life, it's the truth we seek.
And with that, folks, I would say thanks for stopping by. Listen, Black fatigue is real, but I think we should own it as opposed to telling somebody what it really is, or if somebody trying to define that for us. We should define what Black fatigue is to us, and we should fix what we think it is for our own community. Because I could dig it. We don't want no white folks telling us that they're fatigued and all that shit. I mean, because, hey, you know what? we've been fatigued from them for fucking generations, okay? And it's not even about them anymore, right? It's because they can't correct our problems. They can't, you know? So we don't care about what white people say about black fatigue. It's what we say about it. It's what we say about it. At first, we got to admit that we, as black people trying to do the best out here for our families, that we're sick and tired of fucking people just doing whatever they want, whenever they want, wherever they want. Making the rest of us have to pay the penance for their bad behavior. Seems straightforward to me. None of us need a white person to tell us about what black fatigue is. Each one of us as black people trying to do our best know exactly what it means. You know, anyway, so that's me ending this thing. And I appreciate Black Man Unfiltered for letting me up here for this. And I just wanted to get that off my chest. And go see this on replay, folks, if you want to catch it from the beginning. I think I was fair with the 9 ladies. They didn't deserve what happened to them, but they should just sue, and let's get it all out in the open. Anyway, with that, have a good night, and I'll see you next week with another interesting topic. Good night, everybody.